This is going to be part 4 of section 2, chapter 2. We're going to look at properties of equality for real numbers. The reason we're doing this is we're going to start using this type of stuff in our geometry, so we need to review just a little bit. You know all of this already. An equation is a statement that has an equal sign. So all of these are equations. You have some stuff on the left, some stuff on the right, equal sign. There's properties of equality that you're going to use to solve these equations. For example, x minus 1 equals 2. You need to get x by itself, so you have to do something to both sides to get x by itself. Now, whatever you do to this left side, you have to do to the right side. That's what the addition property of equality says. So if we add 1 to both sides, the negative 1 and the positive 1 cancel, and we're left with just x on the left side. On the right side, we have 2 plus 1. X equals 3. Let's make sure this is correct. You can take this x value and plug it in up here where you see an x. 3 minus 1 equals 2. That's how you know you're right. You can check your work. What we just did there, when we plugged a number in for that variable, we used the substitution property. If these two things are equal, then you can put this in for that anytime you want. Here's another equation. X plus 7 equals 12. That's some mystery number plus 7 equals 12. What can you do to both sides to get x by itself? Well, I'm going to give you a little hint right here. You want to do the opposite operation of the sign on that number. So if we subtract 7 from the left, we better subtract 7 from the right. 7 minus 7 cancels. We're left with x equals 5. 12 minus 7 is 5. Check your work. 5 plus 7 equals 12. Sounds pretty good. These are super simple one-step equations. We're starting slow, but we're going to pick it up before you know it. Here's a number divided by 6, and it equals 4. You want to get x by itself, so how can you undo this division? You could multiply by 6. If you multiply the left side by 6, you got to multiply the right side by 6. That's what the multiplication property of equality says. When you multiply by 6, these 6's cancel. So you're left with x all by itself, which is what you wanted. On the right side, we have 4 times 6, which equals 24. Plug back in. 24 divided by 6. Does that equal 4? It does. Last one. 5 times a number equals 10. You want to undo that multiplication. This is 5 times a number. So to undo multiplication, divide by that same number. Now, whatever you do to the left side, you better do to the right side. Those 5's cancel. So you get x all by itself. 10 divided by 5 equals 2. How do you know you're right? Plug back in. Substitution. 5 times 2 equals 10. That's a review. Here's some stuff that probably isn't a review, but we're going to talk about this a whole heck of a lot this year. These are different properties. This first property is called the reflexive property. That's when you only have one quantity. If you compare a number with itself, for example, A equals A. That might sound silly, but that's what the reflexive property says. It tells you that anything is equal to itself. So for example, if you're comparing your height, you would compare it with yourself. I am as tall as me. You're comparing one thing, you're comparing you with yourself. There's only one quantity there. Now, the symmetric property for equality has two quantities. So up here, we just had one thing. We had A. A equals A. The symmetric property says if A equals B, then what that means is B equals A. You can switch it around. So if I'm as tall as Bob, then we know that Bob is as tall as me. That's a symmetric property. The transitive property uses three quantities. So let's say we have an A, a B, and a C now. If we know that A and B are equal, and we know that B and C are equal, A and C must be equal as well. That's three different quantities. So if we go back to the same heights, let's say I am is the same height as Bob, and Bob is the same height as Charlie. What do you know about me and Charlie? We're the same height too. Reflexive has one quantity, symmetric has two, transitive has three. A good way to remember this is writing this down. RST. That's reflexive, symmetric, transitive. RST. 1, 2, 3. Reflexive, symmetric, transitive. This is alphabetical. RST. 1, 2, 3 goes in order numerically. RST 1, 2, 3. Reflexive has one thing. Symmetric compares two. Transitive compares three.